There is a battle, more dangerous than any fought with blade or bow. It spills no blood, yet it determines the course of a man's life. The battlefield is silent, the enemy invisible. It is not fought against armies, not against rival clans, not even against death. This battle is waged within. In the shadow of ancient pines, before the sun breaks the sky, a lone samurai walks. No army marches with him. No banner flies above. He carries no shield, only a single blade. And the weight of the war no one sees. This is not the story of conquest. It is not the tale of a battlefield victory, nor a duel won by skill. This is the story of the samurai's greatest battle, the one against his own doubt, his pride, his anger, his fear. The war within is the only war that never ends. He has slain many, but none so difficult as the one he sees when he closes his eyes. You may think this tale is about combat, but it is not. This is a story of silence, of restraint, of a warrior who learned that the sharpest weapon is not the sword, but the mind that wields it. He was named Renshin, a warrior of skill, speed, and youth. He had bested every opponent in the dojo. His sword sang through the air like wind through reeds. His name whispered like a rising storm in nearby provinces. But victory, untempered, breeds a different kind of danger. Not from others, but from within. Renshin trained from dawn until dusk. He struck harder, moved faster, watched his rivals fall. And with each triumph, something darker began to stir, a flicker of restlessness, a taste of arrogance. He walked taller, spoke louder, laughed at advice. And when his old master corrected his form, Renshin's eyes narrowed, not in respect, but in silent defiance. One evening, the master placed a cup of water on a stone. He said, "Strike it down, and you will prove your strength." Renshin obeyed. A single blow. The cup shattered. Water spilled across the earth. The master smiled softly. "You've destroyed what you do not understand." Renshin's brow furrowed. His blade was sharp. His hands were fast, but still, something felt unspoken. Something unseen. His master sat beside the wet stone. The real enemy does not approach from the front. It waits inside your mind. It speaks in pride. It moves through anger. It blinds you with desire. Defeat that, and no man will ever break you. It was the first time Renshin saw the truth, that the greatest opponent was not the one standing across from him, but the one whispering inside him. A samurai may learn every technique, every stance, every strike, but if he cannot master the self, then his victories are as fragile as a cup of water on stone. The days that followed were quiet, not because Renshin had grown silent, but because his world had. Every clash, every breath, every impulse was now observed, not obeyed. Yet the enemy within is patient, and Renshin was still learning the art of watching himself. One morning during sparring, a younger student struck him with a wooden blade. A clean blow, accidental, but humiliating. Renshin's eyes ignited. He rose with fury. In an instant he lunged, not to train, but to punish. His blade stopped inches from the boy's throat, hands trembling, breath uneven. The dojo fell still. The master stepped forward. He did not scold. He did not raise his voice. He simply bowed and said, "You have defeated him with speed, but you have been defeated by your own anger." That night Renshin sat by a flame. His hands still shook, not from regret, but from recognition. He had trained his body, but not his impulse. He had honed his blade, but not his temper. From then on he rose before dawn. He did not spar. He did not shout. He sat. He listened to the wind through cedar needles. He breathed with the river. He watched the sun rise like a blade drawing from its scabbard. To master his enemy, he first had to witness it. Bushido is not simply about swordplay. It is a code, and within that code is gi, rectitude, to act rightly, not impulsively, to move with justice, not vengeance. In time, Renshin found a stillness he had never known, not the stillness of inactivity, but the stillness of control, where every breath was a choice, and every movement came from a center unshaken. With time, Renshin's name returned to the mouths of others, not for his temper, but for his precision, his restraint, his presence. Word of his transformation reached a nearby warlord, a man known for conquest and for gathering skilled warriors to his banner like autumn gathers falling leaves. One evening, a rider came. A scroll was delivered. Inside, an offer, a title, a place at the warlord's side, command over 50 men, and a stipend fit for nobility. The dojo gathered to read it. Some whispered of honor, others of recognition long overdue. But the master simply looked at Renshin and said nothing. That night, Renshin stood alone, beneath the stars. The scroll rested in his lap, but his eyes stared upward, searching something deeper than the sky. He remembered what pride had once done to him, how praise had turned his discipline into spectacle, his purpose into performance. Would he be serving the way of the sword, or serving the way of self? His master's words echoed like steel. To accept praise too quickly is to drink poison with honey. In the morning, the scroll was gone, burned in the courtyard fire. No announcement, no explanation, just ashes, drifting like snow. For a samurai, the path is more important than the praise. Makoto, the Bushido principle of sincerity, demands that one acts from truth, not for applause, not for reputation, but for what is right, even when no one sees. Renshin did not seek to be remembered. He sought to be worthy, and in doing so, he became both. But even the stillest mind can tremble in the dark. One night, while traveling through the mountain pass alone, Renshin sensed something. The quiet was too quiet, the air too still. A figure leapt from the shadows, masked, fast, merciless. Steel met steel, sparks flew beneath the moon. Renshin parried, twisted, struck. The fight was brief, violent, unfinished. The attacker fled into the night, leaving blood on the earth, and a deeper wound in Renshin's spirit. Alone now, he collapsed by a stream. The adrenaline faded, and with it came something colder than fear. Doubt. He stared at his reflection in the black water. This was not the warrior he thought he had become. He had hesitated. He had shaken. His breath had faltered. Had all the silence, all the stillness, been a mask? Was he still the same boy, once ruled by temper and pride? He did not move for hours. He did not speak. The stars turned overhead. The fire burned low. And still he sat, not seeking answers, but accepting the questions. And in that stillness, he understood. Mastery is not the absence of fear. It is not the elimination of doubt. It is the ability to carry them quietly and still move forward with honor. To know fear and walk anyway. To know weakness and choose courage. To feel doubt and yet remain centered. The war within him was not won. But that night, he no longer saw it as his enemy. He saw it as his path. When Renshin returned to the dojo, he did not speak of the attack, nor the doubt, nor the long night beside the stream. But something had changed, not in his sword, not in his stance, in his presence. His movements became slower, yet more precise. His gaze, calm, not sharp, his breath measured, steady. The other students watched with reverence, but Renshin sought no recognition. He bowed more deeply, he struck less often. But when he did, it was with the certainty of a man who had nothing to prove. The old master, now silent with age, watched from beneath the cherry blossoms. And one morning, after Renshin's kata was complete, the master approached, placed a hand on his shoulder and spoke. You have become dangerous, not because of your sword, but because of your silence. The lesson had finally taken root. The samurai's power was not in how many he could defeat, but in how few he needed to. The warrior who seeks battle is still ruled by the storm within, but the warrior who walks with peace is one the world cannot shake. This is the final victory, not the triumph of force, but of discipline, not the roar of glory, but the whisper of self-command. In mastering himself, Renshin became what no enemy could predict, no blade could touch, and no praise could corrupt. They say a warrior's life is one of blood, of battles, of victory carved in the bodies of the fallen. But those who walk the true path of the samurai know otherwise. The blade is not the point. The enemy is not the other. The battle is not out there. The battle is within. Renshin would never be remembered for conquering kingdoms. He did not leave behind castles, nor titles, nor riches. But he left behind something greater, an example of stillness in conflict, of humility in strength, of discipline over impulse, of peace over pride. He showed that the true samurai does not rush toward war. He walks quietly through the storm, carrying peace like a blade no one sees, but everyone feels. He proved that conquering the self is not a moment, but a life, a path you walk every day, with every breath, every decision, every silence. And when that battle is won, there is nothing left to fear.